Today's stories include PlayStation speaks on the future of the business, Xbox speaks on the future of their hardware, and PlayStation displays confidence in Marathon. We'll have all this and more because this is Kinda Funny Games Daily. Yo, what's up? Welcome to Kinda Funny Games Daily for Friday, June 13th, 2025.
Friday
One of your hosts.
13th.
Friday the 13th.
A spooky day, everybody.
A spooky news day for you indeed. I'm one of your hosts, Blessing. Adeoye Jr. Joining me is LaCroix Poppy, Tim, Mo, Logan, Geddes.
I'm feeling real good today. Yesterday, I had a headache all day. I was off my game. I was on the longest piece of content of my life, Superman in Review.
Yeah, I saw.
Incredible stuff. Greg Miller. I've known him a very long time. I've made a lot of content with him, talking about things that he likes, things that he hates, things that he loves. I've never seen him unlocked this way.
Oh.
The amount of knowledge this man has about Superman, the movie, 1978, it would surprise you. And I know you're like, I don't know, I expect that. No. The depths to which he knows this movie, it's terrifying.
How long is that podcast?
It was like 3.5 hours.
Jesus.
No, was it? I don't know.
257 according to Barrett Courtney. God dang.
The movie's 223, and that's way too long.
Yeah.
So,
is that the one? Which is the Superman movie where he flies around the Earth and reverses time?
So this is my first time watching any of these movies. It turns out it is this one.
Oh, is that one? Okay, yeah, I've seen that one then.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a good movie.
It's a great movie.
It's a
Great
good
movie. You definitely check out the interview and strap in. Strap in, everybody.
You should also strap in for some Riftbound card reveals because last week, Tim, Riot hit us up. They're like, yo, we got these Riftbound cards. Of course, that's their new League of Legends card game that they're pushing currently. I got to go to the Riftbound Summit, the pre-release summit for Riftbound.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, I've never been to a summit before.
You're a card game influencer now, Bless.
I know. It's so funny because when I saw the trailer they did, but before they were even calling it Riftbound, I saw it and I was like, I need to know more about this. It looked like Magic the Gathering, but like with some flair to it.
Yeah.
And the thing me and Mike have been trying to figure out is how we make more card game content, and nothing excited me more than getting on the ground floor
Of a new one?
Of a new one that's going to be big, right? Especially now that I've gotten my hands on and gotten the chance to play it. It's fucking good. Like, it was a really, really fun time going down. I talked about it a little bit in a previous piece of content, but I couldn't like go into detail. I'm not going to go into super detail, but like when they sat us all down. It was me and a bunch of media people, and then also a bunch of Riot people as well in a room. They did a slideshow. They talked to us all about their plans for like release. They're doing like a staggered thing where it comes out in China first, and then later on it comes out in English-speaking territories. I believe they're aiming for around like November, December time to bring everything out. They then allowed us to like pair up with people and play matches, and it's like they designed it around multiplayer, so they want people to like play with like 4 people, essentially. Gotcha, like Magic Commander kind of thing. But I got to play quite a few.
This is a very, very, very ignorant question.
Yeah.
There's no solo Magic play, right?
So, no, like single player.
Okay,
no.
okay,
No. I think when they say multiplayer, they mean like 4
more
people,
than 2.
more than 2, essentially. Yeah. But yeah, got to do that. Saw some like recognizable people from like the board game community and got to like play with them, which is cool. I met this person named Voxy, who's been on Tolarian Community College. You wouldn't know about that, Tim.
I don't
know
but
about
I'm
Tolarian
so
Community
happy
College.
that you know all about it.
And then they let us leave with some trial decks, but I've been very excited to play with these with my friends who are into card games to like learn and all that stuff, because I do appreciate the fact that it's if you're not familiar with like TCGs, it's similar to Magic as far as like you're tapping mana to then play cards and you're going up against other people, but it's very unique in the sense that like it's more movement based, and so you have battlefields in the middle, and like you can move your cards to the battlefield. I mean, dude, they were really excited. I got excited from how excited they were talking about this game, because they're like, yeah, we got different formats, and like this ain't official yet, but we want to do a 5v5 format. That's essentially like League of Legends, where you have like 2v2s happening and then a 1v1 in the middle, which I think is a jungle thing. I don't play League of Legends. Somebody get Mike out here. Mike would be able to explain this stuff better than me. But
Mike,
to boil it all down, I'm super duper excited for Riftbound after playing it, and also for me as somebody who's trying to get into like 2XKO, and also like somebody I liked Arcane as well, and now I'm finding more avenues into League of Legends, which without actually having to play League of Legends, which is great for me. So yeah, I'm very excited about Riftbound, and yeah, they gave us the opportunity to reveal 2 cards. And this ain't a sponsorship. This is a thing they do with creators in the TCG space, where they're like, They're like,
Big
hey,
Mike coming in.
Big Mike coming in. They're like, hey, we got cards to reveal. Do you want to reveal some? And like for me, I'm like, oh, that's exciting. Yeah, Greg, let's do it. And so I want you here because we're about to reveal 2 new Riftbound cards, and you're the League of Legends
What
guy.
an honor. What an awesome honor you get to be, Bless. This is sick.
Yeah. Barrett, if you can bring him up. So this first one, Mike, can you tell us about Sona?
Oh, Sona. Actually, this is my support character. It's funny enough. You showed me you showed me some of the heroes, and there's Leona, and then there's Sona. I rock Sona a lot. I think it's a great intro beginner character to bot lane if you want to be a support character. Sona is known for her heals, her abilities to buff up the team whenever needed, and then also a big-time stun ability on the opposite team. And so that's what I would be looking for out of the 4 things that she does, her abilities, what she would have on her card. So what does this card do, Bless?
I mean, this is a champion unit. Let's see. While I'm at the battlefield, ready for friendly runes at the end of your turn. So essentially, like you're untapping mana to put it into like our terms, right? Once you get into a battlefield, like I mentioned earlier, it's like more location based. So you put your cards on the battlefield to face off against the other player's cards, and if you're dominating the battlefield, that's how you score points in the game. And so that's pretty cool. Now, Barrett, if you can bring us the next card. Shen. Are you familiar with Shen?
Oh yeah. The assassin is right. There's a couple characters very similar to Shen who could really mess up your day inside of the MOBA battle space. So yeah, that's a fun character. It's really cool, Bless, when you showed me these cards and you named off some of the heroes that we went through, the champions in League of Legends style. It made me smile because there's a lot of old school ones. Remember, there's 150 plus. So, Tim, we're pretty deep into the lore of League of Legends and the whole world of Runeterra. And so, yeah, it is awesome to see a lot of older collections get mentioned in here because that's where I'm at, of like that 2013 to 18 era is my heavy League of Legends world. So a lot of these characters made me smile. But what does this card do, Bless, that I should know about?
Let's see. Reaction, play anytime. Oh, so this is reaction, I believe, is kind of like an instant kind of thing. Play anytime, but even before spells, yada yada. Shield 2 while I'm a defender, tank. I must be assigned combat damage first. This is one of those ones where I'll need the rule book. It's one of those ones where I need the rule book to break it down for me, or I need an expert. But there you go. You have 2 new Riftbound cards revealed for you right there. Thank you so much, Riot, for the opportunity to do that.
Oh, yeah? You got any questions? No? I have so many questions, but we'll talk about this at another day. I want to know about this battlefield that you bring up, how that's laid out, how it looks. I want to bust open all these cards with you, go through all of the champions.
Make some time on a stream or something.
And we'll play.
Yeah, let's do that. Tim.
Yes.
Before we get into the show proper, you have a link here.
I do. Just a little something dropped this morning that I just needed to remind people about because it's been too long since I've thought about this little guy, and I need everybody to remember he's still coming. The threat is looming. 266 days away until Pixar's Hoppers is in theaters. We will be doing a group outing. It'll be mandatory for our entire company to go watch this movie opening night. We have to.
I need to watch more of our content because I have no idea what's happening. What is Hoppers?
You don't know about Hoppers?
Look at them.
They're humans that turn into beavers.
They're humans?
Well, we assume one of them's a human, and I think that's an actual beaver, the one in the crown. It's a little confusing, I know, but don't worry, we'll find out together.
Last year, Tim live reacted to all of the news dropping out of Comic-Con, specifically the Marvel stuff, and I believe Joey and I joined him. And we were just finding all of these links, images, all this stuff. That was the reveal of RDJ coming back as Dr. Doom and all this shit. But then also we were getting reveals of like Pixar stuff. And the first image of this movie, Bless, Tim was just like obsessed and smitten by. Yeah, he loves this beaver.
I love the beaver, dude. I don't know what to tell you, man.
I'm way more
just
interested.
a big beaver fan.
And we were interested in the second picture in this tweet because this is directly from @Pixar, where they're saying, check out these all new looks at Hoppers and Toy Story 5. This Toy Story 5, this isn't like a direct image from the movie, right?
No, this is concept art.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I was about to say, if this is the art style, we got to riot.
Yeah, no.
All right, cool. I mean, I'm excited for Toy Story 5.
Hold on, real quick, Barrett. I do want to show the image that they decided to show in Hall H multiple times. I'm going to Slack this to assets right now.
I can't believe we're taking a Hoppers break right now.
It's important, dude. Everybody needs to know about this, okay? Because we are, again, 266 days away from this. Everybody needs to prepare.
Jesus.
They just kept showing this. And in action, he's just running towards the camera. I think it's a she, actually. Anyway, we'll learn together. Don't worry about this. It's not too late. We have some time.
All right, well.
What's up with the news?
That was an eventful start to KFGD this morning, but let's get into it. Remember, this is Kind of Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday, we run you through the nerdy news you need to know about live on YouTube, Twitch, and on podcast services around the globe. If you love what we do, support us with the Kind of Funny membership on Patreon, YouTube, and now on Spotify and Apple Podcasts to get all of our shows ad-free. Watch us record them live and get a daily exclusive show. For a chance to be a part of the show, some of your thoughts and opinions as YouTube Super Chats as we go. Housekeeping for you. One of the projects we announced at the beginning of the year to celebrate 10 years of Kind of Funny was another big video essay from Barrett, and he's finally ready to reveal when y'all can watch it. Barrett, roll the clip.
Apologies to audio listeners.
Yeah, this is video focus.
He is at a crossroads. To stay a punk, these movies about losing limbs and space embargoes are
right
all
now
about
we're watching
love.
a TV.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to The Legend of Zelda in Review. This is
Playing all
the
Barrett's
only
old
main
video essays.
Yeah.
Start with the B list.
This is Barrett
Old
Portian
school.
review.
bottle. See where the lightning goes next. With Ragnarok coming soon, representing the end of the Norse era, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order kicks so
good
much
fit.
ass. To bump Breath of the Wild down
Here
to
we
number
go.
4. I knew I was being brought back into a genre that helped me get into video games in the first place.
This is hype.
It's hype.
This is
It's fucking
exciting.
hype.
It's red. It's gonna be Nintendo in review, guys.
Every Nintendo ever.
All right. Let's do this.
Naughty Dog in review.
Let's go, baby.
It's 11 a.m. Friday, June 20th, right here on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. That's right. Next Friday after Games Daily, Barrett will be premiering his new video titled I Replayed Every Naughty Dog Game. And with that, we're doing a whole Naughty Dog week of gameplay streams leading up to it. On Monday, Barrett and Tim will play some Crash Bandicoot games. On Tuesday, Barrett will guide me through my first time ever playing Jack and Daxter. On Wednesday, Barrett and Greg will play Uncharted 2 and talk about Greg's history with the series. Thursday, Barrett is playing hooky to catch a Cleveland Guardians game. So Mike and Nick will be playing Last of Us Part 2 on its 5th anniversary, which all leads to Friday with the YouTube exclusive premiere, taking the place of your regularly scheduled GAMESCAST. Barrett, how hyped are you for that?
I'm very excited. I've been working on this a lot for the last 6 months. We announced this Naughty Dog video at the beginning of the year, and I'm excited to finally have it come out. It's not an in review. I just want that expectation for the audience there. I won't be ranking these games. This is going to be a bit more about the journey of replaying and going back throughout Naughty Dog's history. And for those wondering about the kind of vibes and aesthetics here, Tim mentioned my old series, The B List, which I started making video essays before I even started at IGN. And with this being the 10 year of Kind of Funny, and one of the things we were doing was me doing another video essay, I got nostalgic for where I started. So yeah, this TV that I use here and the intro music that you heard were things that I used from my original video essay series back in the day. So just got a little nostalgic and a little fun tidbit for y'all there. And I'm very excited. It's going to be a kind of different vibe, and I'm excited for y'all to check it out.
Very excited. He's been working really hard in this, and the little things I've seen, I'm like, this boy's cooking.
He's cooking for real. Remember, we're an 11-person business all about live talk shows. Today, after KFGD, you're going to get GAMESCAST, which is our Mario Kart World review. Then the stream is going to be some of that Dune Awakening. If you're a Kind of Funny member, today's Gregway is a guest spot from the one, the only, Rebecca Valentine, telling you about the best places in Kansas City. Why? Because one of you asked.
That's hilarious.
Fuck
Yeah.
I love that.
Thank you to our Patreon producers, Carl Jacobs, Omega Buster, and Delaney Twining. Today, we're brought to you by Xreal and Factor, but we'll tell you about that later. For now, let's begin with what is, and forever will be, the Roper Report. It's time for some news. We have 5 stories today.
A baker's dozen!
Starting with our number 1. Sony says future platforms are top of mind, exploring new and enhanced ways to play. This is from Andy Robinson at Video Games Chronicle. And here's what I'll say. It's a beefy news day. A lot of beefy news stories here. All right, so sit back, relax, and just let me read to you a little bit. PlayStation has discussed its future console strategy and said it's committed to exploring a new and enhanced way for players to engage with games, and that the future of the platform is top of mind. Sony Interactive Entertainment's new president and CEO, Hideaki Nishino, was asked during a business segment meeting about the future of PlayStation console hardware and whether it could be superseded by cloud gaming. Nishino emphasized that PlayStation now has multiple generations of experience providing players with cloud-based gameplay, and stated that while he views it as a viable option for players, he believes overall demand remains for the local execution of games. Quote, "Cloud streaming is progressing well from a technical standpoint, as we have demonstrated with our offerings, but end-to-end network stability is not in our control," Nishino said. He continues, quote, "And the higher cost per playtime compared to the traditional console model remains a challenge. Cloud gaming is increasingly providing an additional option for players to access content, but our belief is that the majority of players continue to want to experience gaming through local execution without dependency on network conditions. And PS5 and PS5 Pro have validated this thesis, I believe," end quote. The CEO went on to reference how Sony's console business has evolved into a multifaceted platform with a significant portion of its 124 million monthly active users still playing on PlayStation 4. Quote, "We now have a large ecosystem of highly engaged players across both the PS5 and the PS4 generations. So naturally, therefore, there's a huge interest in our next generation console strategy," he said. Quote, while we cannot share further details at this stage, the future of the platform is top of mind. We are committed to exploring a new and enhanced way for players to engage with our content and services," end quote. Azar again emphasized the point that Sony's players are now engaged across multiple platforms, including PS4, PS5, and PC, and noted that the vast majority of its revenue now comes from subscriptions and microtransactions, which should provide protection during any future platform migration. Quote, "So we've reduced traditional cyclicality." Is that the word? I know it. Cyclicality?
Dude, yeah.
As you describe it, by establishing a large ecosystem of players across both the PS5 and PS4 generations, which provides recurring revenues. So, this has driven overall high and stable level of spend on content and services, which, by the way, now constitute over 2/3 of our revenue, providing a consistent, predictable, and profitable base of our revenue," end quote. He added, quote, "PS5 represents our most engaged players with the highest spend per player versus prior generations. Our PS4 players as well are still active in spending well," end quote. That was a lot.
It is.
Of marketing, a lot of business.
It's a lot of nothing when you really think about it. It's essentially like, all right, cool, we're thinking about what the next system's going to be. Duh.
Yeah.
Of course they're thinking about it. I don't think this means it's any time closer than we thought it was yesterday, right? Like this isn't, there's no news here necessarily. The way they're talking about all this of like caring about local executable support and all that, that's great and that's awesome and something that we love to hear because I do not want that function to go away. Having said that, I do think it is pretty funny that they talk about it that way and then get to the end of this and be like, but the money's in subscriptions.
Yeah.
Like, cool, we have the PS4s and there are still a hefty percentage of 120 plus million players, engaged players, using a PlayStation 4. That's great. But they clearly are like, where's the revenue coming from, though? It is coming from the engaged PS5 players, and that's with what the PS5 offers now, including cloud support and things like that. When we're a couple years later and Xbox has a even further like hold on services and subscriptions and all of that, I wonder what PlayStation Tune is going to be at that point. But I still think we are a fair ways away from that becoming the sole reality. But yeah, it's funny because like nothing about this gets me excited necessarily.
No, I think this all orients how we think about PlayStation, how they approach their business versus how other people might approach their business, right? Like a lot of buzz terms here, but I think a lot of it is valuable as far as why they're doing live service. We've been talking about this for years and years about, like, and especially in the last, I think, a couple years, right? When they did their one of their business calls talking about how they want to shift a lot of their budget into live service because that's where a lot of revenue is going to come from. And looking at this, that is where the bulk of revenue is coming from, is from those subscriptions, from those microtransactions. And I'm sure for PlayStation, it is making that bit of percentage off of Fortnite's microtransactions and all these other games microtransactions. I'm sure that very much informs PlayStation going, okay, but what if we just made 100% off of microtransactions by being able to own that, being able to have our own thing that is our own Fortnite or our own Call of Duty or whatever our own live service, our own Destiny, right? Let's literally buy Bungie kind of thing. So that makes sense. I think coupling that with how they're talking about, it seems like PS5 now is where the core player base of PlayStation is, right? Or at least I would say where the majority of player base of PlayStation
and
is.
in addition to that, the core place of console gamers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that is the a very important thing is the PlayStation 5 is the core main way that general gamers are playing third-party games and obviously PlayStation exclusives, but those represent a large percentage of console games, period.
Yeah. So this all makes me wonder, and it's kind of to what you're saying as well, right? Like wonder about what the future is. It's not necessarily an exciting thing, this isn't exciting framing for it, but it is, I think, informative as far as like, all right, the train is still going to keep going. I think for me, this signals we're still going to keep trying the live service thing, and we're going to do it until something sticks, right? And I think for them, it's going to be a learning process of, all right, Concord didn't work. All right, Marathon's up next. Let's see if Marathon works. Oh, it didn't. All right, let's see if Fair Games works. And I think it's going to be moving and shifting. I think they're probably going to see. It's probably going to be a lot of experimentation. I think you're going to see the Arc System Works Marvel fighting game probably be a big factor into. Oh wait, we don't have to have a Destiny if we have like 5 or 10 of these, right? If we can figure out the creative ways to enter the live service realm without having to be like a Bungie launched a new first-person shooter that has 50 million players kind of thing, I think that might help to define it. But again, they're obviously chasing the money.
Yeah, man, there's a lot of conversations here that I'm very interested in having. I want to stick on the Marvel thing for a second because you're making a very good point that if they just find a bunch of smaller wins, that could add up to being more important than unreliable,
big bets.
Yeah, but the fact is, fighting games are still, all things considered, a fairly niche thing. You're now making this on an exclusive, right? So it's PlayStation. Is it coming to PC?
I believe it's coming to PC.
Either way, you're very much limiting a player base, which we've seen before, not the best, actually actively bad for fighting games, right?
Yeah.
On top of that, there's not 10 million people buying this game, right?
10 million?
Yeah, there won't be.
Over time. I mean, it depends on.
I don't know. I mean, like, think about that. Like how many fighting games have crossed 10 million?
I mean, there have been. I mean, I would say like Tekken. Well, previous Tekken crossed 10 million. Maybe Street Fighter 5, but maybe not. Actually,
but I don't think so. I want to look into this, but not that many is my point.
Okay, sure.
So what I'm saying is, it's like you're already limiting the amount of people that are going to buy this thing, but then on top of that, support it in the live area because like the buying it, that's old school traditional revenue. They're talking about subscription revenue. So my point is, you're only able to get a limited amount from the player base, and not the entire player base is going to buy the subscription.
Yeah.
So you need to set the expectations there. Like if PlayStation were to do that, they need to know they're only going to get X amount of whales or X amount of people that are committing to whatever the subscription service, the fighter pass, or whatever the hell they want to call it for the thing. Because you even look at more modern traditional fighting games that do have like the DLC packs, and I mean, I would love to see the numbers on those. I guarantee it is just a downward slope of people that are actually still buying or playing or whatever with those.
But I think to that, it's going to be balanced. So to fact check here, right? Street Fighter 5 by... Well, I can't find when this is by, but this is from a Eurogamer article that it's sitting at 7.8 million units, and I think this is from like quite a few years ago. Tekken 7, as of December 2022, sold 10 million, and like if memory serves me correct, Mortal Kombat's like
as the biggest one.
Yeah, I feel like that typically will hit like 15 million or something like that, right? So, and that is to your point of that balance of what is the success you're looking for as PlayStation, and like, what is the potential for these games that you're launching to hit that success? And I think it's a fascinating talk because I don't think that Marvel alone is going to do that, but I think Marvel is going to do a few things. Marvel is going to be big for your audience. I think both PlayStation audience, gaming audience, and then also like fighting game audience is going to love Marvel, and it's going to be that's going to count as a W. And I think in some cases, as long as the money's there as well, a W is a big deal, especially if you can sustain it and have it be a thing that lives for even if it's not 10 years, if it lives for 5 years, and if it's able to get that money over time, if you pair that with a handful of other ones, right? Like, I don't know why Project Gummy Bears comes to mind, but like say Project Gummy Bears is more exciting than we're making it out to be. Because like from the reports and stuff, it seems like internally that tested pretty well. It seemed like it created.
We didn't see that last week, by the way.
Oh yeah, we didn't see that last week.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah. And maybe that game is not as far along as maybe we would think it is.
But there were like some rumors that like really backed up that we were going to see it.
I think it was. I just predicted it. I don't know if there are rumors or anything that made it seem like it was around the corner. I was just hoping to see it.
But that's funny.
I mean, they called it a frog type game, and I'm like, when you tell us that much, I want to see what this game is. But like, if they have if they have MLB doing its thing, if they have Gran Turismo doing its thing, if they have like a handful of titles that can count as that live service thing, that doesn't have to be the big bet of an extraction thing. I think my thing with the PlayStation's live service approach is finding the lanes that actually make sense and actually don't have as much competition. You look at Concord and there was too much competition.
So, but what a problem with what you're saying here, though, is the games that you just mentioned, they're not nickel and diming people with microtransactions, right? Like Gran Turismo, as a live service game, the live service, correct me if I'm wrong, it's not making them revenue like that, right?
I mean, that's a question for the audience that's playing.
Yeah, like for MLB and for Gran Turismo, are there active ways because every game has ways most games have ways you can make money from them.
Yeah.
But you're not going to call them a live service game.
So in your mind, live service has to be nickel and diming people?
I think it kind of does, right? Or there has to be a very just clear, obvious, this is how they're making money. You know,
Sure.
It doesn't need to be nickel and diming, but just there has to be like the clear, like, that's how this is working and people are actually doing it.
Yeah. I would ask for people to either you're wrong or super chat in and let us know what your experience is with like microtransactions in those games. Because I think for MLB, I gotta imagine
MLB has packs of cards. Okay, it has the same normal thing you'd expect from like FIFA, the Ultimate Team, and all that.
Yeah, I think you know what? I'm gonna remix the news stories here.
Cool.
Because story number 3 actually fits in with the conversation that we're having right here. So I'm going to hop into story number 3 and let's talk more about PlayStation's live service. Because in story number 3, PlayStation Studios boss is confident that Marathon won't repeat the mistakes of Concord. I'm pulling from Chris Kerr at Game Developer. PlayStation Studios boss Herman Holst has insisted that Bungie's upcoming live service shooter Marathon won't make the same mistakes as Concord. Discussing the company's live service ambitions during a fireside chat aimed at investors, Holst said that the market remains, quote, a great opportunity for PlayStation despite the company having a decidedly patchy record when it comes to live service offerings. Last year, the company launched and swiftly scrapped live service hero shooter Concord after it failed to hit the ground running. It shuttered developer Firewalk weeks later after conceding the title did not hit our targets. Sony scrapped 2 more live service titles in development at internal studios Bluepoint Games and Bend Studios in January this year. Earlier this week, it confirmed an undisclosed number of workers at Bend had been laid off as the studio transitions to its next project. Holst said the company had learned hard lessons from those failures and believes Marathon is well positioned to succeed as a result. Quote, there are some unique challenges associated with live service titles. We've had some early success as with Helldivers 2. We've also faced some challenges, as with the release of Concord, said Holst. Quote, I think some really good work went into that title, some really big efforts, but ultimately, that title entered into a hyper-competitive segment of the market. I think it was insufficiently differentiated to be able to resonate with players. So, we have reviewed our processes in light of this to deeply understand how and why that title failed to meet expectations and to ensure that we are not going to make the same mistakes again. End quote. Tim, do you believe him in regards to Marathon?
I mean, what gets complicated about this is that I do believe they're not going to make the same mistakes, but I think they're going to make different mistakes. That's just what it is, and that sucks. But again, this is just kind of just words. This is just a lot of saying things that like doesn't really mean anything because we're in the reality we are, which is Marathon is not likely to be a hit. There is a chance that it pulls it off, but it's not likely. Like if you were a betting person, you'd bet against it.
Yeah.
So what Herman's saying here, I don't believe it. I don't believe it changes anything. I don't think he knows anything we don't.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? He knows a lot that we don't, but he doesn't know anything that's going to like actually affect the reception of Marathon at this point. And like even some of the things they're saying about like comparing it to Concord, it's like, again, a lot of people here played Concord and liked it a lot. It's not that the game was horrible. It's not the game was this like disaster, abysmal mess. It's just people didn't want it.
Yeah, I think it's that it was in a hyper competitive space. Like, why would I play Concord when I could play Overwatch or I could play Marvel Rivals? And then also, you're putting out at $40 in a space where doing a premium priced title is becoming tougher and tougher, as even the games like Overwatch and Marvel Rivals are free to play, right? Like, that is becoming more and more of the thing. So it was just positioned in the wrong way. And I think when I think of the lessons that you can learn from Concord to better launch Marathon, I think of those things. I think of pricing, which, correct me if I'm wrong, Marathon is coming out at $40, unless I'm misremembering that. That's another kindoffunny.com/slash you're wrong for chat if I'm wrong about that. But like, all right.
So did Concord, right?
Yeah, so then Concord. So that's not the lesson being learned. Is it a thing of getting the game into people's hands earlier? They have been doing that with Marathon, to their credit, and I think that's a good thing. But like, how much can you really move the ship and turn this into something that people are going to love? I think there's the Bungie factor that people, you have a built-in audience already. You have people that love Bungie and that want to see that game win because they want to see Bungie win. But I think that's only going to buy you so much time and cachet with your audience.
So we don't actually have a price for Marathon yet. It's
okay.
Bungie confirmed it's a premium paid-for game on PS5, but it won't be $70.
Gotcha. So, I mean, and that's still to the point of premium paid game. All right, cool. Like, it's an extraction shooter, so like, and I think most extraction shooters are paid, but at the same time, I still think for the live service aspect of it, you just have a lot working against it for the kind of game that it is.
It does, and it's not even bringing up the controversies of art theft.
Yeah. So Tim, if you're putting your CEO cap on,
Yeah,
you're PlayStation's new president. You're trying to figure out how to navigate the ship. Like, what are the big moves you're doing if you're trying to learn from Concord and figure out what live service looks like for you for the future?
The problem with Marathon is that it's here.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like we can be like, all right, we're just like, pump the brakes, let's figure out strategy. It's like they need to do something with this game. And the longer they take to figure out what that is, the more money is being spent on the game instead of money being made from the game, right?
Yeah.
My gut says free to play is the answer. You put this thing out, give it the best chance to possibly work with an audience and get people. Again, if the game is good and it's free, people will play it. Will enough people play it to keep it going? That's a different question. But I mean, I feel like a damn lot more than people having to pay for this thing, right? And then on top of that, like the story number one, they're talking about microtransactions and all this being a substantial part of where the money's made. I feel like they need to look at it and be like, all right, there's certain games that we're betting on making money from the sales of the game. They have so many of those, PlayStation.
Yeah.
Then there's the other side of like, the goal is microtransaction money from this. And I feel like Marathon, that is what I would bet on. Because otherwise, I think you're trying too much. You're trying too hard to like get this up front and then get more later. I think that that's just going to result in a failure across the board. And I'm not saying that the free-to-play is going to work, but I do think with what I understand and know, it has a higher chance of resonating more with more players and at the end of the day, making more money for PlayStation.
Yeah. I mean, I think leveraging the platform that you have, right? Like, even if it's not free to play, I think putting it on PS Plus, like figuring out the avenues
That's a great thing too.
For your audience to get in there and want to experience it and have fun and want to party up with friends, right? And like make it easy for their friends to get in. That's what these games are all about. And then you'd want to have them hooked in for however many months, however many years to then make that spend afterwards, right? Like that should be the strategy with this thing. I'm so fascinated to see beyond the Marathon and Fair Games, because I think those are the two looming like threats on the horizon, essentially, right? Like I don't know how those two games are gonna do, but I think beyond that, like I think they're at a place now where they can be a bit reactionary, and I assume they already have been reactionary internally as far as, all right, what have we learned about the audience response? What have we learned about Concord's launch and failure? What have we learned about what we can do in this space and what we can't do in this space? And I think we see some of those things announced in the next 2 years. I don't think there's any world in which they're done with the live service push, but I think there is a world where we see more of these games get announced and we go, oh, interesting. I might be into that. I think you might have a bit more of those things announced. I think you couple that with looking at what you already have, and instead of and this is me speaking way out of turn, not knowing the numbers now, all this shit works. I would think that looking at what you have on your platform, the third parties, the Fortnites, the Genshins, the Call of Duties, all that stuff, and figuring out how to foster the best environment for those games to make money on your platform and put more effort into like, all right, how do we make PlayStation the best place for Genshin to thrive? That way we can make that percentage off of their microtransactions. I would think that like that is what you do, and I'm sure they do that anyway. But like, I think trying to launch your own Fortnite is impossible.
Yes.
Like and
hard
statement, hard stop. It's impossible.
Yeah.
Tim, before we move on to ads, I want to bring in maybe one or two super chats for you. Kobe Arndt writes in and says, Marathon comes out in 3 months, and we haven't heard anything about it since the controversy. This is the first time we are hearing about it since. What do you think is happening at this point? It's a good question.
It's a
That's
great
a good question.
man. Like, I just don't know. I don't know where we're at with this. Like, it wasn't at their state of play.
Yep.
And it's so close.
It
But
wasn't
it's
at any of the summer things.
Yeah. But it's at a point that we know, like, people have played it now. Like, the community has played it. Like, the sentiment is out there. Like, there's not much we need to know actively until a decision is made. We know the date. So until that date is delayed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which at this point it has to be.
But that's the thing is, it doesn't. Like, I expect it's going to be, but like, we already have our questions answered.
Isn't there fundamentally like a fuck ton of art assets that are just kind of stolen in that game?
I mean, I don't know that stops them from releasing it, though. I don't know. The thing with that is like,
Depends on how the conversations go around with all of that shit.
Yeah,
like
like how-
internally and with the people they stole.
How quickly and
it's
easily-
not. First off, I don't think that they win that lawsuit. Like, I think just the sheer money involved. They should. They fucking should. But like, I don't think.
Oh, the people that like might come after PlayStation over their art. Have they officially announced?
I don't
like,
think so.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's one thing is I don't think we even get there. Period.
Yeah, I think depending on how they resolve it, because I could see them going to the artist and being like, "Yo, we will just
we're just
throw
passing you out."
a fuck
Yeah.
ton of money."
I don't think that stuff gets in the way of the release date.
Yeah.
I think it's more, are they happy with the strategy for the game?
Yeah,
Because if the answer is no, listening to Herman here, reading between the lines, things can change. But my point is, while I think it is going to get delayed, we still do have 3 months until this release date hits. So all it takes is a random Tuesday blog post of like, hey, here's the launch trailer. And we're like, all right, it's coming.
all right, cool, it's happening.
know?
I don't understand why. Does PlayStation not have an early access program? I don't remember any game coming out in early access. This might be a chat question as well, right? Like, I feel like Marathon coming out in early access this fall makes way more sense than a full launch, just based off of the impressions that I've seen online about Marathon so far and based on the type of game that it is. I think this is the kind of game that probably just needs early access so that you can use that year to build and listen to audience feedback and see what the game is like out in the wild, and then make those fixes and then have a big 1.0 late next year.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why that's not the case. Path of Exile is, I assume PoE is Path of Exile too. They Lucid Dream in chat says that's early access. Some people in chat are saying no, it doesn't. Fortnite was early access for years, says Kebabs. So I think you're talking about Fortnite Battle Royale.
Street Child says PlayStation just started a beta program. Marathon could be used for it.
Pal World early access. That's a good point. So yeah, I feel like if I'm PlayStation in conversation with Bungie, I understand. Hey, you're PlayStation. Everything's prestige here. You know, you want things to launch from first party out and finish and all that stuff. Just make it early access and just have this be like the trial period of figuring out like what does the audience really want from this game and how do we make the best game over the next year.
I mean, man, I don't know that you can do that with a Marathon. Like, Marathon is not like an IP that's going to draw people in, but it is one of Bungie's IPs. And I feel like essentially being like, hey, admittedly, we don't know what to do with this is not a good look for a IP that they have.
Yeah, but
this is them bringing it back. Like, there needs to be a level of confidence, and they need to be able to stand on it, and it needs to be able to stand up to that level of confidence.
But I think we're at the place now with early access where we're past it being a thing of you don't have confidence. I think for these types of games, early access seems to be more and more standardized. Like the fact that Power World came out in early access and it's one of the most successful games of the last 16 months.
Another game that stole a bunch of things. Maybe it'll work.
I mean, yeah. I mean, maybe. Yeah, like, fuck it. Throw it out there at early access, and, what can the courts do?
Yeah.
The game's not out yet. We're going to replace all of this shit. I don't know. And then I'll bring in one more super chat from Spubby Jubby. This is off topic, but I like it. Any luck getting the Final Fantasy MTG cards? Got some yesterday from local game stores. Funny story about that. We got them delivered directly from Magic Wizards of the Coast to us yesterday, me and Mike.
So cool.
It was so cool. And I was panicking like for weeks because I was like, oh man, I'm not able to get them. Like I'm looking everywhere and like the prices are so high. And then after we got them yesterday, I came home and then I got a notification on my phone from Amazon. And they were like, we've shipped your Final Fantasy starter kit that you ordered in February. I totally just forgot.
I love it.
I
came into a fun surprise on my desk.
Yeah.
Bless his other one. Hell yeah.
Yep. I came in this morning and placed the starter kit that I got on Tim's desk, and now we're all just hanging out. We're all going to be playing some Magic. You gonna learn some?
We'll see.
Would me and Mike do a stream, like schedule a stream?
Yeah.
Would you come through? Would you learn?
I'd like to. Yes.
Okay. I'll talk to Mike about that. But yeah, and I also got what's the name of the Final Fantasy X protagonist? Tidus. I got the Tidus commander.
Hell yeah.
I'm really excited to bust it open. I'm playing some board games tomorrow with some friends.
Very proud.
It's gonna be a good time.
Hell yeah.
You know what else is a good time? Going to patreon.com/kindafunny and youtube.com/kindafunnygames, where you can get the Kinda Funny membership, which allows you to get shows ad-free. And speaking of ads, let us tell you about our sponsors.
This episode's brought to you by X-Reel. Y'all know that a few months ago, my life changed forever when I brought a pair of X-Reel 1 AR glasses on a long flight to New York. I legit could not believe how easy it is to use and high quality my experience was playing games, watching movies, TV shows on the plane without just too much extra stuff around me, or especially not a giant goofy headset around my head. No joke, this is my favorite new tech product in years, and it has earned a permanent spot in my travel bag. It is only hard to believe that it works as well as I'm saying until you try X-Reel 1 AR glasses for yourself. And then you will see that the future is now. The tech is here. Connect X-Reel 1 glasses to wherever you are playing, whether it's a handheld console, a PC, phone, home console. You just get a massive 150-inch virtual screen anywhere, anytime, for any game. Gaming on the go like a long-haul flight, you need the X-Reel 1. Neck starting to hurt from staring down at your handheld? We've all been there. You need an X-Reel 1. A screen as big as your wall. Instant plug and play with all of your devices via USB-C. Built-in audio with sound by Bose, anchoring your screen anywhere in space. It's awesome. It just works. Zero latency at 1080p full HD. These are what make X-Reel 1 a must-have. And we hear X-Reel 1 Pro is coming soon with an even bigger virtual screen. Hit our link below to get your X-Reel glasses today. There's nothing better than when a sponsor of Kinda Funny is something that we are legitimately obsessed with, and that is exactly the case here with X-Reel. You're gonna hear me talking about these forever. Go to kindafunny.com/X-Reel. That's kindafunny.com/XREAL. I promise you, you are going to love these things. This episode's brought to you by Factor. Summer Game Fest is here. The Switch 2 is here. The sun is here. So many summer things are here. And the number one thing you don't want to be doing all summer, spending hours cooking inside. That's where Factor comes in. Factor's chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals are ready in just 2 minutes, taking the hassle out of eating well. We love Factor here at Kinda Funny, and Greg's often making and enjoying meals quick in between shows here in the studio. I just had a roasted garlic chicken, and I'm telling you, you would have loved it. Factor meals arrive fresh and ready to eat, perfect for any active lifestyle over summer and beyond. With 45 weekly menu options, you can pick gourmet meals that fit your summer gains and goals. Choose from options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, Keto, and more. Get started at factormeals.com/kindafunny50 off and use code kindafunny50 off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. That's kindafunny50 off at factormeals.com/kindafunny50 off for 50% off plus free shipping. factormeals.com/kindafunny50 off.
And we're back. We got a lot of super chats that came in, starting with Matt Sanders, who says, great review of Superman. Let Greg know I blame Eminem for misleading a generation to think it's Christopher Reeves and not Reeve.
I am 1000% one of those people.
Yeah, I'm also one of those people.
We were talking about the name yesterday on in review, and yeah, I didn't bring up the Eminem thing, but because I didn't want to get too negative. But it is crazy. It is crazy how many times we heard that man say Christopher Reeves.
Yeah.
Because it's not once or twice.
No.
It's 100.
Over the course of like
None appropriate.
20 years of
Yeah.
him rapping about Christopher Reeves.
Mhm.
Christopher Reeve. Fuck. Yeah. No, it's funny because I don't think I would know who Christopher Reeve was if it wasn't for Eminem.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, real talk, that's how I learned too.
Yeah. Shout out to Relapse, I guess. Amaze
Encore.
Hobbs writes in and says, Blessing, any interest in the Digimon card game? I'm very
Hell yeah.
inexperienced with the IP, but love the gameplay. Would love to hear yours and Mike's thoughts. No. But, maybe I'll check it out.
I love I think the designs of the Digimon cards are sick as fuck. Back in the day when I was a little kid, I collected them as well. And then they re-released the OG set, so I got all those last year. But my friend Yoshi is actually super, super, super into the Digimon
Really?
in general, but the Digimon card game,
Mhm.
and like he hosts like the big tournaments and stuff, and it's pretty cool.
Big tournaments.
Big tournaments.
I didn't
man.
know it
the
was like
Digimon
that.
card game is like it's up there. Like they're taking it really
Wow.
seriously, and like I don't know if I'm into Digimon, so I'm sure I get served more Digimon content than most people do.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's not magic levels, obviously. But
I mean, this looks cool. I like the art.
from my outside perspective, this and Lorcana seem to be on the same kind of level in
Really?
terms of obviously Lorcana has more just general interest, but in terms of like tournament gameplay and like people taking the game seriously,
Yeah.
I see them talked about a lot.
I do mess with Lorcana. I like Disney Lorcana. I've only played it once with Blinn and Yusuf, but like I want to go back to it. I'm just sitting on a bunch of boxes
Yeah.
of Lorcana cards.
I bought
that people
the
give
3
me.
starter decks for the first round of them, and I never
Let's
got
do a
to it.
Lorcana stream. We gotta do we gotta do tabletop Tuesdays because of alliteration. Like, we
The
gotta
rules
do
of
it.
alliteration, man.
Let's see. Joe Ferrelli writes in and says, "Happy Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy Day to all the sickles who celebrate." Happy one to you too, Joe. Alex Frazier says 10 bones for Barrett being awesome.
Hell yeah.
Demon Hacker says, does Barrett's Naughty Dog roundup include pre-crash games?
You'll have to watch it and find out.
Wow.
Wow. Va Vuios says, Beaver Tax. What is that?
I love that you had to hesitate before you said it. Show some fucking respect to the Beaver, Bless. We educated you. We're 266 days away from hoppers in theaters.
Oh, sorry. I've already forgotten. I already wiped
It's okay.
Hopper.
It's okay. You can
My
forget
bad.
for now. We have some time. We'll figure
Holy
it
cow.
out. Don't worry.
And then Dexter Schwarzler writes in and says, so proud of you, Barrett. Can't wait. And then one more from Kebabs. He says, after beating Crash 1 for content, Tim said, we'll be back for 2. We'll be back for Warped. I never forgot. Glad that is finally happening.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Oh, kebabs, only you.
I
I do remember that
appreciate
stream. That was your birthday
It
stream.
was my
back in-
birthday stream. I think first year, 2015.
Damn, dude.
10 years ago.
Damn.
Yeah, that's
All right, we got to
crazy.
play Crash 2.
Yeah, I'm
And,
excited.
maybe a little bit of CTR as well.
Yeah, no, we're going to bounce around and have a lot of fun. I'm
Hell yeah.
stoked on that.
If y'all play Crash Bash, hit me up. I'll play some Crash
Hell
Bash.
yeah, dude.
No.
Not Naughty Dog, though.
No.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
not
Naughty Dog
Dog?
didn't make that one.
Who made Crash Bash?
I don't know.
But
I
Naughty
didn't-
Dog made Crash Team Racing, and I love that.
I didn't know Naughty Dog didn't make Crash Bash. Hold on,
No,
I gotta pause
dude.
the show. and look this up.
Anything past the PlayStation 1, Naughty Dog was not involved in terms of Crash Bandicoot.
Well, Crash Bash was PS1.
It was PS1.
Oh,
but
really?
it was, yeah.
It was
I
late,
mean-
though.
Oh,
Real late.
okay,
2000,
okay.
I think.
Okay.
So it was primarily developed by Eurocom. Wait, hold on. We're hopping to the Wikipedia.
Yeah,
This
because
looks-
here's the weird thing, because I don't know how the history goes here, is that, like, yeah, Crash Team Racing is the last game Naughty Dog works on in Crash Bandicoot. After that, Naughty Dog gets fully bought out by Sony PlayStation. The Crash Bandicoot IP stays with Universal Interactive.
And then Traveler's Tales made their games for a while, and
Yes.
then it got acquired by Activision.
Gotcha.
So the first page, the first sentence of the Crash Bash Wikipedia page: Crash Bash is a 2000 party video game developed
Sure
by Eurocom Entertainment Software in association with Cerny Games. Do you think that's Mark Cerny?
Yeah.
That must be Mark Cerny.
It must
I
be, yeah.
believe so.
Yeah, Mark Cerny had his hands on Crash Bash. I
Oh,
knew,
yeah,
I knew he was a
dude.
genius.
Dude, where did Nat come from? Where'd the idea for Nat come from? Crash
Think
Bash.
about it.
And here's the thing.
Wow.
Crash Bash, obviously, the worst. No, actually,
whoa.
It's not, Sonic Shuffle exists. But like, it's not Mario Party. Let me just
Okay,
say that,
f-
all right?
fair.
But some of those mini games, we got to bring it back. We got to do a
Dude,
Crash
are you
Bash
kidding me?
stream, dude. That Pogo one.
I was gonna say the
I
Pogo
knew-
one.
yeah,
Oh my
that's the
god,
one. That was
Pogo
in the
one.
demo.
And then what was up with the ice one? There was like one where you're on like a circle of ice.
Yeah, and you're all sliding around like a,
Was that like a bumper
like
car
a
thing?
sumo bumper car type
Yeah.
thing.
There were some hits and some
Mike.
stinkers.
Get Crash Bash on the stream schedule for an entire month. Every day Crash Bash.
Oh no!
Oh wow, I don't know. We got to do
Crash
all that.
That's an
October.
overcorrection.
Yeah. Oh man, we got super chats coming in, but they're all about cards. We'll get to that later in the show. Let's hop in back in time to story number 2. That's right. We went 1, we went 3. Now we're going back to 2. Xbox handheld device quote is essentially canceled. This is Eddie McCook at GameSpot.
Brandon Walsh in the chat says, Tim, Crash Bash is nothing like Mario Party.
People just be saying things. I mean, sure, you're not rolling dice and going on a game board, but it's a mini game collection.
A mini game party collection.
Starring a mascot for a big platform.
Nothing like it, Tim.
Though Microsoft never announced an official Xbox handheld device, there were rumors about how such a device might factor into the company's next-gen console plans. Those plans are continuing to evolve, it seems, as a new report said Microsoft's own Xbox handheld is essentially canceled. A report from The Verge, citing insiders, said such a device is no longer going forward. This follows on from a report at the end of May that suggested plans for an Xbox handheld were sidelined. Different from canceled. Sidelined, now canceled. The Verge's report added that Microsoft remains bullish on the idea of making next-gen Xbox hardware, but perhaps not in the way people think. Quote, we'll see multiple devices from PC makers like Asus that will also be considered next-gen Xbox consoles, the report said. Spencer alluded to a closer collaboration between PC and console in a recent Xbox podcast interview. Quote, this is the tightest collaboration I've seen between the gaming organization and the Windows team in my 3 decades at the company, he said. Spencer also mentioned how Windows PC is an open platform that he believes, if managed properly, a PC can be considered as a game console. While Microsoft may not develop its own dedicated gaming handheld device, the company is working with third-party devices like the recently announced ROG Ally handhelds from Asus.
I think this is really good news. And I think that why I say that is the knowledge that they understand they need to focus on the OS. They need to get Xbox OS not just working. This is not a good enough situation. Xbox OS has to just simply work in any place that you're playing it.
What do you mean?
Like, I think that the OS that they're making that is going to be on this the Xbox Ally X, and then that is also going to be on the next generation console of Xbox. I wonder if they even get it on Xbox Series. Like, I wonder if they're going to get everything kind of using the same operating system. Yeah. Because that is when we're going to be at the point that the dream has been fully realized, and there is no actual difference between a PC and a console for Xbox, because Xbox is the platform, and we don't need to differentiate between Xbox for PC and Xbox, period. Like, that is, I think, the final point of trouble for them. But they also don't want to give up the console side because they want to have that hardware, and that makes sense. But we just need to get to that point where there is no actual difference between the experience between the two. And yeah, then when there are handheld hardware partners like Raj, and I'm sure Legion and others are soon to come. Yeah, potentially even Steam. Yeah, if Steam wants to play nice, which I think they might when it comes down to it. Xbox having its operating system everywhere, that really is everything is an Xbox. This is an Xbox, and the experience is going to be your Xbox experience. So they don't need their own hardware to do this with the strategy that we're not guessing anymore. They're doing it, and they're telling us they're doing it.
So do you think we're not going to see Xbox hardware then in the future?
No, I do, okay. But I don't think it's going to be important. I think it's just going to be an option. But I think it's going to be similar to PCs, where it's like, yeah, Windows has Surface laptops, and that is an option to get. Yeah. There are better gaming laptops out there, and anybody that takes gaming seriously isn't playing on a Surface. They're playing on a monstrosity. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. But like, do you see what I'm saying? It's like, I they're going to have hardware, but it's not going to be the thing. It's not going to be the push.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. I guess I then try to make sense of it of what does that benefit? Like, how does that benefit Xbox?
Because it's not the box. The box doesn't mean anything. Yeah. It's the OS is what matters.
Like, say like if I understand it's not the box. Okay. But like, where does the money come from? Are we just talking about Game Pass and software sales at that point?
Yeah, but also they're going to have hardware that they're selling. It's just but it's similar to this generation. Where's the money coming from this generation with their hardware? It didn't sell that well.
I guess that's fair. Yeah.
I don't think it's going to change.
I guess my thing is if our hardware becomes so understated that like you're like, all right, any PC can be an Xbox, right? Like if I'm say Asus or Legion or whoever, right, is putting out technically better Xbox hardware than Xbox is, and the Xbox hardware becomes that understated, I'm almost like, I wonder at what does it get counterintuitive to the business at some point?
No, because I think that's the business that they are transitioning to, and they're already currently in. Think about it; they're competing more with Steam, and competing is even the wrong word. Like they're playing the same game that Steam is, but the difference is Steam puts out one original IP sequel or something every handful of years, whereas Xbox has an entire suite now of devs and publishers to be able to put original owned content on their platform. Like that is the difference, right?
Yeah.
And having to play anywhere and all of that, I feel like there's just a lot of services that have been built up for the last decade that I think they're now ready to be like, yeah, the Xbox is the OS. It is not this box or that box, right? And Steam's been doing this for a long time, and it's funny because you don't need the box for Steam to be a thing, right? Like you could just use Steam on majority of computers at this point. But yeah, interesting stuff.
Very interesting stuff. Let's hop to story number 4, our last story of the day. PlayStation is being really, really thoughtful about picking which games to port to PC, says studio boss. This is Andy Robinson at Video Games Chronicle. PlayStation Studios boss Herman Holst has said the platform holder is continuing to make a thoughtful and measured approach to porting its games to PC as it balances growing its audience and protecting the value of PS5. It's so funny how opposite. I know we've been talking about this for years, right? But it's never been more opposite than this as far as PlayStation and Xbox and what they've been doing.
Yep.
Sony has been porting its first-party games to PC for some time. However, unlike Xbox, which releases PC versions day and date with console, Sony's non-live service games like God of War Ragnarok and Spider-Man 2 have typically arrived at least a year after their PS5 versions. In the past, Sony has indicated that it would like to be more aggressive with its PC ports. However, speaking during a Sony business segment meeting on Friday, Holst indicated that it would continue to be conservative with its multi-platform releases in order to protect the value of the PS5 console. Asked about the industry trend of companies moving towards multi-platform gaming and how Sony will protect the value of PlayStation consoles, Holst said, quote, "You're quite right that we're continuously exploring new ways for players to interact with their franchises. It's important to realize that we're really thoughtful about bringing our franchises off console to reach new audiences, and that we're taking a very measured and very deliberate approach in doing that. Particularly on the single-player side, our tentpole titles, they're such a differentiator." He added, quote, "The point of differentiation, I should say, for the PlayStation console is that they will showcase the performance and the quality of the hardware. So we want to ensure that players get the best experience from these titles. We're very thoughtful about how and if and how we bring these titles to other platforms," end quote. Hideaki Nishino said the platform holder would continue to monitor players' patterns and behaviors to, quote, "ensure that we serve them appropriately." The executive was also asked about Microsoft's pivot to multi-platform releases and if he thought it was a good thing. Quote, "We think that competition in the business is healthy and pushes us to innovate," he replied. "There are multiple participants who together drive the overall gaming industry, and while there are new engagement models being explored, we ultimately think this is a good thing. However, as I mentioned earlier, we are confident and committed to our current strategy, and there isn't an urgent need for us to pivot," end quote. Kind of a weird full circle here.
Plus, one of my favorite things is when a rapper I love and a producer I love team up and announce, we're going to put out a joint project.
I mean, Nas and DJ Premier, it's coming up. It's going to happen.
And the producer's like, "I'm going to produce every song on this album." And the rapper's like, "I'm going to rap on every song on this album."
Yeah.
And then magic happens. There's a vision. There's a cohesion. There is an agreement for the shared vision of all of this. I like when these businesses have a vision that's clear and they're committing to, and every step they're making makes sense to go towards that. PlayStation, Xbox, two incredibly different visions at this point.
Yep.
I'm in support of both, and I think that PlayStation should be this steadfast about, we're not going to put everything everywhere. Like, we are valuing our PS5 because people value the PS5 and are buying it, and we're going to continue to invest in that. Meanwhile, Xbox, completely different, and I think are busting the industry open in a very exciting way. We'll see the ramifications of everything, but I do think that having both is very, very exciting, where there are different ways to play that I think speak to different types of people. But also, I think the majority of people that are rational, if they have the means, would be excited about all of it.
Yeah.
You know, like if you can play all these things and have these different experiences, cool. They're investing in different ways. I think this is cool. I do wish that the story was slightly different. I wish PlayStation was at a point, because I do hear this and I go, okay, this just means you don't have the teams to actually day and date port to PC and have it run as well as you want it to, in order to not have all the controversy, because it seems like every time a PlayStation game launches on PC,
There's some bullshit.
there's some bullshit, right? And I think if that weren't the case, I think this tune would be a little bit different, because I truly believe at the end of the day, PC doesn't get in the way of the console at all.
Yeah.
Like, people buying God of War on Steam is not going to affect people buying God of War on PlayStation 5.
Yeah. I think that's the one part where I'm more so lean on the I understand why you don't want to do day and date from a marketing perspective. Partly because there's that double dip of, oh, if you launch God of War in 2018 on PlayStation, and then we launch God of War again in 2020 on PC, you're going to get those repeated sales from that, some of that same audience. But I think also at the same time, you are then incentivizing the audience to have to get a PS5 if you really care about the IPs, right? Like there's a weird spectrum of how the console manufacturers operate between, I think, Nintendo on the far, I'll say far right, PlayStation.
You had the time to think about that and make a choice, Wes, and that's what you made?
Listen, if any of them,
I'll say it.
If I'm going to describe,
One of them has to be the far right. Let's give it to Nintendo.
if I'm describing any of the companies as conservative, it's fucking Nintendo.
Okay,
all right?
okay.
Xbox doesn't give a fuck. Xbox is like, do whatever the fuck you want with our games. We don't give a shit anymore. And then PlayStation is weirdly centrist. Where PlayStation is very much like, let's have our cake and fucking eat it too, right? Like, PlayStation, they are to some extent their IP in the same way that Nintendo all the way are their IP. I don't ever expect Mario to end up on a PC. You know what I mean? I don't ever expect Zelda legally. Sorry, legally. By Nintendo's doing, I don't expect Mario or Zelda or Samus or whoever to end up as a PC thing, because once you do that, Nintendo just completely turns into a different company. I think PlayStation is in that weird place where
they're socially liberal but financially conservative.
Exactly. Where fiscally
just conservative.
Fiscally, PlayStation's like, we should put our shit on PC. But socially, they're like, but like, we want people to still feel like they need to buy a PlayStation. And so put God of War on PlayStation first, and in a few years, fiscally, we're going to make that money back by putting it on PC.
Yeah.
End of my comparison.
And that was Games Daily, everybody.
Games Daily, we did.
All right, Nintendo.
Sorry, Nintendo says he's out of line, but he's right.
Am I wrong? Tim?
Yeah.
We just had a lot of big business conversations.
Big business,
today.
oh yeah.
But if I wanted to have some small business conversation, the tiniest business conversation I could have, where would I go?
You go to our last news story, the Wii News channel, where we cover all the small news items that you need to know about.
Story number 5 is Wii News. From IGN, GameStop, speaking of big business, GameStop is doubling down on trading cards.
Cool.
Quote, we are focusing on trading cards as a natural extension of our existing business. The trading card market, whether it's sports, Pokemon, or collectibles, is aligned with our heritage. It fits our trading model. It appeals to our core customer base, and it's deeply embedded in physical retail. Unlike software, it's tactile. Unlike hardware, it has a high margin potential. It's a logical expansion, end quote. The announcement sent stocks tumbling 22%. Devil May Cry 5 sold more than 10 million copies worldwide.
Fuck yes, you'll love to see it.
Let's
That's
go.
awesome. I keep itching for Devil May Cry 5.
Yeah?
I don't know when I'm going to have the time to go back to it, but yeah, I keep thinking about it.
Hell yeah. Do it. Why not?
I should. I
fucking
know.
do it.
Live a little.
Nobody's stopping you. And then Peak from Aggro Crab and Landfall launches June 16th on PC. And that is it for Wii News. Let's take one more look at Super Chat to see what you guys are saying. Rotating Cast says, my Switch 2 has a stuck pixel in the center. RIP.
Oh, man.
Oh, that hurts.
Dude, my
That pained
PSP
me.
had a stuck pixel back in the day, and it just drove me fucking insane. And I ended up buying, like, I tried to do a whole bunch of things, and GameStop was fucking me. They just were like
No,
they were,
not
I-
GameStop.
I know.
GameStop.
Then I fucked them. I bought another PSP and I switched them out.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Fuck the man.
Badass right there.
I'm such a badass, dude. No dead pixels for this guy.
I love a similar story there where I remember turning in my copy of Arkham City on 360, and for some reason, the money I got back was more than the cost of the Game of the Year edition of Arkham City, and I'd not played the DLC yet, so I went in, handed it in, and then got Arkham City Game of the Year edition, and even the employee was like, what? And I was like, fuck,
So funny.
fuck off. I'm out.
Street Shadow says, if true, Xbox must solve library migration to a PC hybrid. Either port console-only games to PC or support strong emulation, or legacy libraries won't carry over.
That's the step we're at. Like
Yeah.
that is the biggest thing is we got to get the Xbox OS to be able to play games. And the thing is, it will never be all of them. We just need to all accept that. The third parties, like they're not going to agree to that. They're not going to put into work necessarily. Having said that, Xbox has invested in this and backwards compatibility for so long at this point that I do think that they have a big leg up in terms of the heavy lifting of a lot of the work. So I do think that the majority, if not all, of Xbox titles from the past are in due time going to be on PC.
Yeah. Jordan White says, just got the notification that my X-Real 1 Pros will be arriving before my trip to Italy and Paris. Pairing those with my ROG Ally X are going to make these flights so much fun. Thanks, Tim.
Dude, please keep me updated in your experience because I'm telling you, it's about to change your life. That flight is going to be unlike anything you've ever experienced.
Hell yeah. Jokerman writes in and says, how much debt should I expect to get into if I decide to get into Magic? I mean, that's up to you. I think I personally do a good job of mitigating like how much money I spend. Now, granted, I'm in a very privileged position that I get sent stuff from Riot sometimes, or not Riot, sorry, from Magic sometimes, which does do a lot. But also at the same time, whenever I'm buying cards, I usually just buy the packs for like the pre-release events, and I just let those be the ones that I rock with. And then I play a lot of Magic Arena, and I don't really spend much money on Magic Arena because you can just earn packs. And so that's how I do it. And I think if you find those things for you, those like boundaries for you of like, all right, this is where I'll spend, this is where I don't spend, you'll be fine.
Mike Kurzer in the chat says, I'm like 13 minutes behind. I'm confused why Tim thinks the Xbox Ally has an Xbox OS. It's not. It's Windows with a new front end. This is step one towards an Xbox OS.
Yeah.
Like I think that what we're seeing now is just the time and place of them not having this hardware out yet and like having everything solved, because the problem is gaming on Windows is just not ideal. Steam is way better. The Xbox app on PC, it works. It is not, and it's good enough. It is not where it needs to be. And clearly they're working on an Xbox OS. And I think that by this time next year, we're going to be in a very different conversation about an Xbox OS and what it looks like on any of these mobile
Handheld devices.
Handheld devices, yes.
Let's see. We're running late, so I got to pick and choose a little bit, chat. Samson L writes in and says, top 3 is definitely Magic, Pokemon, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Then One Piece at 4. Lorcana, Digimon, and other Bandai card games are all successful too. I mean, anecdotally, that sounds about right to me. Yeah, like Magic, Pokemon, and Yu-Gi-Oh! And then like, yeah, I'm surprised by how much I hear about the One Piece card game. That's one that I do want to pick up and try out. But let me tell you, I think Riftbound is gonna enter that conversation. I don't think it's not gonna be Magic, because Magic
one of the
has
big 3.
No, because those have had decades and decades and decades. But like in the big 5, I could see it entering the conversation. And this is me speaking as somebody who only recently got into TCGs like 6 months ago. So don't take my word as gospel. Let's see here. Street Shadow. Oh no, we already read that one. Snake 1987 says, Blessed Mike should start a series where you buy the newest starters or boosters for a TCG, play a few matches, then use the scale to rate them. I like the rating aspect of it. I've been talking to Mike for months about how do we make good TCG content, because I think that's an ongoing issue of like, what does that look like? I think even the best of making TCG content still struggle with certain things, right? Like it's just tough. It's hard to make that shit entertaining for people to watch. So I'm constantly thinking about it, because I think like Kind of Funny uniquely has a really good setup for if we wanted to go all in on that stuff, we could probably actually make really good content compared to a lot of other people in the space. But it is about figuring out how to make that shit fun.
That's the hardest
Fun to
problem,
watch.
man.
And then we'll do one more from CJ Splitson, who writes in and says, just wanted to shout out Herman calling out Astrobot as a smash hit and PlayStation ambassador. Yeah, I love seeing the graphic they put out of like the big PlayStation games year to year, kind of displaying everything. And like you'll have like this year's Death Stranding 2 and Ghost of Yotei, and like 2023, right, was or 2022 was God of War, Ragnarok, and then 2020 after that was Spider-Man. But then for last year, 2024 was Astrobot, just like in that prime space, and I was like, fuck yeah, let's go.
Dude. I love it. I love them saying that it is, you know, I'm happy to hear that they're calling it a smash hit. But like the sales though, like they're not talking about sales. And last we know, it's 2.3 million copies at $60.
Yeah, I would hope that the margins for the amount of time and the amount of budget you put into making Astrobot a Team of Sobi justifies.
I really hope, and they're saying it's a smash
success.
hit. Put your money where your mouth is, PlayStation. Give me more.
Yeah,
more ideas like that.
God, we're gonna get more. We're gonna get more. I believe it. Just like I believe going to kindoffunny.com/you're-wrong, where you can write in, let us know what we got wrong as we got it wrong, so we can correct it for those watching later on YouTube and listening later on podcast services around the globe. Here's the thing. Phil Chu writes in and says, Marvel Rivals wasn't even out when Concord was failing. I know that. I still use it as an example, just to replace Marvel Rivals with whatever other free-to-play shooter exists. Marvel Rivals was heavily in beta, though. Like me, Mike, and like a lot of the community were playing Marvel Rivals around the time of Concord, and I think that does inform how people receive it, even though it wasn't officially out. Yep. But yes, Marvel Rivals wasn't all the way out when Concord was
all the way up.
All the way up. Let's see here. Somebody says Marathon delayed according to IGN, but this seems like let's see. Sony admits Marathon feedback. This seems like a new article. Hold on. I might have to read this after this and see if this is KFGD worthy. The headline from IGN I'm looking at is Sony admits Marathon feedback has been varied, but insists it will avoid repeating Concord mistakes and commits to launch by end of March 2026.
Oh, fun.
So yeah,
snuck that into this.
Yeah,
into these interviews.
Snuck that in. So we're gonna copy that. We're gonna paste it into the KFGD Slack channel. All right, and we're gonna talk about that in a future show. Thank you so much for that. And that's it. I think the rest of this is editorializing. So we're going to get rid of that. And we're going to end the show. Because, Tim, it's been KFGD. It's been another episode. It's Friday. What you doing this weekend?
I have to go to a wedding.
Hell yeah.
Gia's friends' weddings.
Is it in town or are you traveling?
It is in town, thank God. And I like this friend. You know what I mean? That's not always true. It's not always the case.
Listen, I know that's right. Have fun this weekend, Tim. Of
You
course,
too.
This has been Kind of Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday, we run you through the nerdy news you need to know about live on YouTube, Twitch, and on podcast services around the globe. If you love what we do, support us with the Kind of Funny membership on Patreon or YouTube to get all of our shows ad-free, watch us record them live, and get a daily exclusive show. Enjoy the GAMESCAST next and the stream after, but until next time, game daily.